It's raining, sure is, and it's cold outside, which means this is the perfect chance for me to show all of you how to re-waterproof your rain jacket. Woo, look at all that beading. Wash your sleeping bag and your insulated jackets. It's already smelling better. We cleared all the farts out of it. You can just tell it's happier. And just generally care for your gear. And yes, there are steps involved. They are easy. You can do it. Ta-da! If you're wondering, you do need to wash your stuff. That's like the biggest question. People are like, do I have to wash my sleeping bag? Yes. This is my show, gosh darn. In this video, I'm going to focus on how to care for and wash and revitalize your rain jacket and your insulated stuff. And I'm focusing on these two things because I think they most often need the most care. And I also think they're very frequently neglected. But at the end of this video, I'm also gonna give you a couple of tips for caring for the rest of your backpacking gear. So make sure that you stick around for that. Let's go ahead and start with my rain jacket. If you're noticing that water no longer beads up on the outside of your rain jacket and instead soaks into the external material, it is time to revitalize the DWR, or durable water repellency, that is on your rain jacket. Luckily, revitalizing the DWR on your rain jacket is super simple. All you need to do this is a washer, preferably without an agitator, and a dryer. Cool? Let's do it! Rain jacket in the machine. You want to use a really gentle detergent when you're washing your rain jacket. I really love these washer sheets. So this is just a detergent sheet, totally dissolves in the wash, and I'm only using half of a sheet because there's only one garment in there. Boop. So we're gonna start by just washing this just to clean off all of the dirt and oil on the exterior of the jacket. And once that wash is done, then we're gonna do a follow-up rinse and spin to clean all of the detergent off. Washing the jacket is just to get it ready for repairing the DWR. The real magic is gonna happen when we get to the dryer. There it goes. Super. My rain jacket has just finished washing and doing that extra spin, so now I'm gonna pull it out and chuck it in the dryer. All right. We're gonna tumble dry this on low heat until the jacket itself is fully dry. So my rain jacket finished its dry cycle. So now I have a perfectly dry rain jacket. But in order for this to keep me dry, there's one more step. The DWR in this jacket that causes water to bead up when you're standing out in the rain and roll off, that needs to be repaired through heat. So the heat from the dryer will heat up that DWR and then redistribute it around the jacket. And that in turn is gonna help keep you dry when you're standing out in the rain. We washed it to remove all the dirt and debris. We dried it just to get the jacket dried. And this last cycle, that is the one that is going to repair the DWR. So in it goes, low heat, 20 minutes. We're gonna hit the start button, and when this jacket comes out of here, it will be perfectly repaired and ready to go for the rainy season. Sweet! Our rain jacket just finished that final magic cycle. Look how clean. We are doing the ultimate shower test. Woo, look at all that beading. Wow.
Wow.
Now we have finished caring for my rain jacket. Let's move on to talking about my insulated stuff. Quick pause. I am coming at you from a future video. I'm taking the opportunity here to remind you to not only care for your gear, but also care for yourself when you're hiking in the winter. The trail that I'm backpacking on right now has a lot of elevation gain. And there's a sign at the trailhead that warns people to carry not only enough water, but also electrolytes. And that brings me to the sponsor for today's video. LMNT is a delicious powdered electrolyte mix that has everything you need to replenish your electrolytes without any of the sugar. I don't like the electrolytes that have a ton of sugar in them because I just don't care for the taste, but I love the way that LMNT tastes, which means that I'm more likely to use it, which means that I'm more likely to keep my electrolytes up and overall be more comfortable. It just makes me a much happier hiker. I think that that's pretty crucial. If you want to try LMNT, you can go to the link below, which is drinklmnt.com/MirandaGoesOutside, and place an order there. You'll get a free sample pack of all of LMNT's amazing flavors. I will say keep an eye out because they have some specials coming out for the holiday season, and I don't think you're gonna wanna miss them. Thank you to LMNT for sponsoring this video, and if you have had a chance to try LMNT electrolytes, I hope you love it as much as I do. All right, back to the video. I have here 2 different insulated jackets, Rainer's sleeping bag, and my quilt. Washing and caring for all of this stuff is quite similar, and it also serves the same purpose, which is to re-fluff or re-loft your insulated jackets and sleeping bags so that they can properly keep you warm. Now I'm going to show you the most universal way to care for your insulated stuff, but if your quilt or sleeping bag or insulated jacket says something different, absolutely abide by the manufacturer's instructions. To wash and re-loft your insulated sleeping bags and your jackets, you are going to need a washer without an agitator and a large dryer. Most people opt to do this process at a laundromat. Luckily, at my house, I actually have a pretty big dryer. So I'm gonna do this all right here at home. If you're wondering whether or not you should wash your sleeping bag or wash your insulated jacket, ask yourself if you feel like it is no longer keeping you as warm as it used to. That is a clear sign that you need to wash this stuff, clean all that dirt and oil and debris that's just been like sitting in this insulation out of there, and then put it in the dryer to re-poof it up. Poofy means warm because it's trapping all of these pockets of air that help your body stay insulated. If it don't poof, I don't want it. Now let's take a quick look at my quilt and Rainer's sleeping bag. So my quilt is actually in pretty good condition. I recently washed and cleaned it. Let's look at Rainer's sleeping bag. This is Rainer's sleeping bag. There's like entire sections of this where there's just no insulation. It's just fabric. I can even feel like bits of down that I've kind of started to clump. Oh yeah, you wanna feel this? You should feel this. Look at this, you can see all that. See that like oil right there? Feel this right here.
Oh my, yeah.
Oh!
Wow, that's just all clumped up.
It's all clumped up. That ain't doing jack for you, boy.
Yeah, that's why it was cold last time.
That's right. When was the last time you washed it? Be honest.
Probably a year ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my God. I didn't wash it at all. Do you know why? You did. We had this conversation a year ago.
It's
Miranda
okay.
is my sleeping bag's butler.
With that, let's go ahead and get this stuff in the washer and the dryer. I'm only gonna wash one bag at a time. You can definitely wash multiple insulated jackets, but with your sleeping bags or quilts, it's best to have as much room as possible in your washer, or even go ahead and hand wash this in your bathtub. But for us, we're gonna stick it in the wash. Let's get this nasty thing clean. Gentle cycle, warm water, low spin speed. Boom. Now we have here a very damp but clean sleeping bag. So we're gonna put this sleeping bag in this dryer and I'm going to set it on a gentle cycle, but I want it to dry for a pretty long time. I essentially want this sleeping bag to be like whipped around in the dryer so that all of the down that has clumped up over time due to body oil and dirt, all that down starts to kind of spread out and get a little bit fluffier. It's already smelling better. We cleared all the farts out of it. All right, delicate cycle. I have an extra low temp setting and I'm gonna leave this in here for about 30 or 40 minutes before I check on it and see how much more time it needs. All right, sleeping bag, come back to us. Get better. I believe in you. Now, I know that I talked about my jackets and my quilt earlier in the video, but I'm not gonna go through the process of showing you how to wash and dry those because it's exactly the same as what I've done here with Rainer's sleeping bag. The most important thing to remember is to consult the manufacturer on how to wash your jacket or your quilt or your sleeping bag, and then chuck that in the dryer on a low temperature setting so you can get it properly re-lofted and ready to keep you warm on your upcoming trip. While this sleeping bag is drying, I'm gonna go to the garage and share with you all some tips on how to care for the rest of your gear, which is especially important when you are prepping for a winter trip. Stay strong. Let's start with my stove. So this is my stove, which is the Soto Windmaster. In the wintertime, I think it's a really good idea to check your stove and make sure that it is still working. In the case of my stove, I also wanna check and make sure that the piezo, the auto igniter, which is this little thing right here, is still working. Moment of truth. We are in good working condition. Next up, we have my headlamp. My headlamp is a Nightcore headlamp, and this is actually a rechargeable headlamp. So I'm gonna check the battery life on it. Oh, it is low. If you are storing your headlamp, like if you're not gonna be using it during the winter, then you should go ahead and take out the batteries, which is going to lower the risk of getting corrosion. But for me, I just need to take this inside and give it a solid charge. Okay, next I have my first aid kit. I'm not gonna say a ton about this, just restock your first aid kits. Check them twice, restock them. Boom. Oh, this is my Sawyer Squeeze water filter. You should not store this in your cold garage, or really anywhere cold. The reason for that is that the membrane inside this filter can actually freeze and then break or stop working. I store my water filter inside my warm, heated house at all times, but this filter actually needs a little bit of extra love. So we're gonna go ahead and back flush this to make sure that the flow of the filter is fast and strong and working well. Oh shit, that was dirty. All right, that's better. One quick thing, if you hear this noise, you can hear that there's water still in the filter. It's actually fine to have there be a little bit of water in your filter. It's actually good for the membrane of the filter. And it's also one of the main reasons we do not want to let this freeze, because all of that water in there is going to cause damage. Keep the filter warm and cozy inside. The last piece of gear that we need to check is my shelter. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my tent, lay it out here, and check for any places where maybe there's dirt or mold or a seam that is starting to kind of fail. The reason that I'm doing this with my tent is that, just like my rain jacket, my tent is supposed to keep me dry. So I want to kind of identify any possible weak points in my tent, especially before I head on a trip where I really need it to keep me dry. If you have a tent that has poles, you should also check the shock cord that is connecting your poles. That shock cord can often get like really loosey-goosey, and then you have tent poles that don't really assemble very well. So check the shock cord, check the elasticity, check the body of your tent, check the rain line. Oh, here, maybe I can show this to you. You see that sort of shiny tape? So that is a seam tape that keeps water from coming in through the seams of the tent. If you notice that this tape is starting to peel up, or if it's starting to kind of like flake away, it is time to reseal the seams of your tent. Now the seams on my tent actually look perfect. You are looking fresh. If all of the seams of your tent look as shiny, fresh, and new as mine do, then you are all set to go. You probably don't need to reapply that seam sealant. Boom. The last thing I want to talk about is sleeping pads. If you haven't used your sleeping pad in a while and you're planning on going on a winter trip, I would highly recommend inflating your sleeping pad and leaving it overnight, just to make sure that it stays inflated. Unfortunately, we can't predict when or if a sleeping pad is going to wind up springing a hole, but if you're going on a cold weather trip, it is super important to carry some kind of patch or repair kit so that if you do wind up having a hole in your sleeping pad, you can fix it in the field. Boom, 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 boom. Cool, let's head back inside and check on Rainer's sleeping bag in the dryer. All right, woohoo! We have here a beautifully lofted and cleaned sleeping bag. Look at it. It's just doing its job now. It wants to be clean. You can just tell it's happier. You're welcome. I didn't clean you, no one would. Okay, get out of here, bag. I love you. Goodbye. Be nice to it. Wash it. If you have any other questions about how to care for your gear, let me know in the comments below. And if you liked this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you outside. Bye. If you need to wash your sleeping bag and you know it, clap your hands. Bye.